Hey, it's Ruben from TGE. And if you are struggling swing trading in this market environment, I'm going to share with you the best swing trading strategy that we use inside TGE Max that helped my student create a $100,000 portfolio. Okay. It's the same strategy that we use. And I'm going to give it to you here so you could achieve the same type of results swing trading stocks and options. Okay. So let's get this. Into this lesson here, into this video. But first, I'm going to open up Celsius because they actually won earnings, and we actually swing through earnings because we are confident traders, all right? Which actually plays a big role into how we swing trade. So I'm going to give you some examples. Zeta, Apple, so Zeta, Apple, and CLH. Okay, so we are 3 for 3 on earnings trade, and I'm going to show you exactly how we did it. Okay. But first, let's take a look at the wins inside the community. So same thing again, like I posted here, we won Zeta. Our shares are up enormous. You know, they were as high as 30%. Zeta went up as high as 30%. And I still believe there's some more to come. And I'm going to show you exactly why. And I'm going to cover this actually in today's video. Okay. We're going to learn how to analyze EPS, how to spot revenue growth, how to dig into SEC filings so you can have better conviction in your trades through earnings. You know, earnings is one of those things that everybody gets very fearful of. And a common question I get is, are we gonna swing through earnings? Of course, we're gonna swing through earnings because we did our due diligence. This isn't about luck. It's about doing the research, building a conviction in a thesis that helps you like swing through earnings confidently, right? Because if I was to let go of earnings here of my trade, I would miss this entire move. Okay, and we don't want to do that. But anyways, so that's Zeta win. Today we swung shares through earnings again, and we're up about 25%. This was 16%. This was pre-market, but I believe Celsius is up about 20 to 25% on the day. So awesome returns. And now what I want to do is show you exactly how we do this. Okay. When it comes to earnings, there's four components you need to know. Okay. And this goes all into play when you're going to swing trade. Because when we're swing trading, we're swing trading leap options and we're swing trading shares. And this is the base fundamental of any stock. This is the base fundamental of our swing trading strategy. Okay, this is what makes it our swing trading strategy so good, because we start with the base of the foundation and we stack on top of it. We have more conviction on top of the base. But when you don't have a good base, it's hard to follow through even through earnings. Okay, so what is that? This is called, there's something called EPS, and this is something you may have heard about in earning calls. You know, they're always reporting a couple numbers here. They're always reporting. So what do they report? What they report? Okay, they report uh, EPS. Okay, they report revenue growth, and they report forward guidance. Okay, these are the main three pillars. Now, these actually have sub pillars, EPS and revenue growth. Okay, this has quarter over uh, quarter performance, and then you have year over year. Okay, so now this EPS got split into two pieces. Okay, and you're gonna see exactly what this means all in a bit. And it's the same thing for revenue. Okay, same thing for revenue. Forward guidance is a big question mark because we don't know. The only forward guidance we have is the projections that they have given us since the last quarter. But we can also dig a little bit into the SEC funds, which I'll show you what to look for. So you can kind of get an idea of like if insider traders are selling, buying, and how soon was this? How recent was this? Okay, let's take a look at the NASDAQ website here. You could get this information for free on TradingView. You could pull it up on the NASDAQ website. This is the stocks for Zeta. Now, Zeta, based on our tool called Gextron, it was also giving us clear signal about IV leaning towards the bullish side. The monthly time frame looked really good, as in that there was a lot of buying accumulation happening, a lot of buying pressure. And then also we had earnings, as Zeta had earnings, and I looked at Zeta earnings to see if I was going to swing through it. And here's what I saw. Now they just released Q2, but I'm going to take a screenshot of this. Okay, so we could draw on it. And so here's how I read this, okay? And how you're going to need to read it so you can make proper informed decisions before earnings come. So you want to be able to like figure this out, right? Okay. So here's what I'm looking at. Q2 was this one right here. They just released it, right? Because the earnings passed already. So this was the results. And this darker color is the estimate, and this lighter shade of blue is the expected, or what was actually reported. And so when I look at this chart, before I even look at the report coming out, I got to ask myself these three questions, or two questions. Are they going to be quarter over quarter? And are they going to be year over year? Which the NASDAQ website doesn't show this, but I'll show you the next quarter here. That's the question. Those are the two questions I ask myself. So make sure you write this down somewhere on your notepad or whatever. Questions to ask yourself for long-term swing trading. Okay. Are they going to be quarter over quarter? Are they going to be year over year? Okay. These are two things, right? And typically revenue follows with EPS as well, most of the time. Okay, so it's the same questions. Is revenue going to be quarter over quarter? Is it going to be year over year performance? Those are the basic four questions for EPS and revenue put together of what makes up a good performance sheet. Okay, now what is EPS? If you don't know what EPS is, the best way to like, what is EPS? Okay, the best way to describe it is like the higher the EPS, the more profit the company makes, right? And so this makes a lot of sense. This should make like instant sense to you of like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Why does anybody get into a stock? Why does anybody buy into NVIDIA? Because their growth, their profits are going to grow over the years, right? That's why NVIDIA had the massive run up, because during the year of their boom, their EPS growth was doubling quarter over quarter over quarter, right? So it's just massive growth. So what's the main driver of any stock price? It's EPS, okay? That's what matters at the end of the day. Every single quarter, the reason a stock gets priced in at a certain level is because of its performance and its future growth. The price, the true definition of price is like it's today's discount of the futures pricing, right? And so that's what it is. This is the main driver. Always has been, always will be. There's always going to be speed bumps in the road, and there's always going to be detours and stuff that will drive the market down. But at some point, fundamentals do have to kick back in, and people will notice, oh, this stock is either really undervalued because their growth is amazing. I'm going to show you a good example, which is MU. But it just doesn't make sense to have this valuation of the stock here anymore. It's going to go higher. When? That's the big question. Not if, but when. Okay. So these are the two questions you got to ask yourself when you look at something like this. It's like, is it going to be quarter over quarter? Or is it going to be year over year? In the case of Zeta, they were going to be. Okay, let me see if I could pull up Zeta here and pull up TradingView. Zeta is down 7% right now on the day, practically back to flat open, but I still like it for the long term. Okay, so wait, what was the reason for me bringing the Zeta up? Okay, so with the stock doing so well over the quarters, like you got to then start evaluating almost like past performance, at least the most recent past performance. You know, if the stock performed today at what value was this? 0.03 negative, right? Negative 0.03. And we take a look at if we take a look at past performance here, which you could do that here on TradingView. This was negative 10. What was the all-time high for this quarter? For this quarter, the all-time high was 18. Okay, it doesn't make sense to have it at 18, right? It's too undervalued. What was the all-time high for this quarter? And this was reported for a 0.238, right? It says it right here, 0.238. Okay, when does it get back to those levels? Maybe not for a while, right? So I can expect, just based on looking at past performance, I could say, oh, okay, maybe it will be somewhere around $20, $27. Right now, I have a target for $27 because of IV and Gextron. But you just start making these comparisons of like, how did it this is the current EPS. The last performance, this was the EPS, and this was the all-time high for this price, and this was the all-time low for this price. Does it make sense, the valuation? If it's too low and the performance is increasing, then it probably doesn't make sense, right? Like that's how you start building the thesis of like, this is an undervalued stock at the moment. This is a good time to buy it. Okay. So now looking at Zeta, right, as at the present, the next questions are going to come up. What am I going to look for? Is this quarter going to be this quarter, and is it going to be this quarter? And the answer is yes. We're actually positive EPS, which is good. And then the following quarter. Is this quarter going to beat this quarter, and is it going to beat this quarter? And the answer is theoretically yes, I think. Let's take a look at it real quick. 0.09, 0.09. So it will probably be flat. But if last time it reported 0.06, so if it can beat that, it will go up higher because the growth is going. Now, one thing that can make this go down, that in theory, everything looks great on paper as of right now, based on the projections, based on what's the growth to come over the next 6 months. So this is a great stock to go long on at the moment, right? Now, the only thing that can really throw this off, and I'll give you a good example of when this happened just recently, is forward guidance. Okay, forward guidance can be that one thing that destroys the stock. Okay, because if forward guidance, if they say, hey, actually this is going to be a negative bar and this is going to be a negative bar, this Zeta would never go up. It would have never had that massive 20-30% rally. It would just have tanked even further down because there's no growth, right? As investors and participants, people are not going to invest on companies that are not growing, which that just makes sense. Okay, I'm going to give you an example here of UNH. UNH, let's see if we can pull it up here. Okay, here's UNH. UNH, I thought they beat. Let's take a look at TradingView real quick, because NASDAQ is showing me something else. But I'm pretty confident that they, okay. So it was actually pretty bad for them. So they missed EPS, they beat revenue, and worse, even worse, they reported that the next couple quarters were going to be, they were going to be guided down, and that even dropped the stock even more down. Everything is about EPS growth. So the next couple quarters, it's going to be down. Quarter 3 is going to be down. Quarter 4 of this year is going to be down. So the only thing I can expect for this stock is to drop even lower and lower, okay, until it picks back up EPS, and then maybe it will start rallying again to whatever the market thinks the pricing is appropriate, okay? So when it comes to swing trading, here is your base fundamental. This is the same base fundamental that he uses for his swing trading that grew his account to 100K. Okay, that was a big factor, right? The question is always, is there growth in the stock? Now, one thing that you could do to do homework here and to be really good at this is to just go to the NASDAQ website. It's free. Look up your ticker, your favorite ticker, um, and then start looking at this chart and ask yourself, is there growth this coming next quarter for the earnings? Is it going to beat quarter over quarter? Is it going to beat year over year? Is revenue going to beat quarter over quarter? Is it going to beat year over year? And how does the forward guidance look like as of right now? Okay, I'm going to give you another good example here of MU. MU is a ticker that we like a lot, and it's one of those tickers that have been undervalued for a long time, all of last year. This is MU. You could clearly see that we like MU because there is literally growth quarter over quarter over quarter. And better yet, you could scroll down a little bit further and look at their yearly earning forecast. So the full year forecast. And you can see here, today this forecast is going to be a high of 7.04. And then next year of 2026 is going to double to 14. So they're going to have a massive growth span for this year and next year, which is really, really good. And we want to capture that entire thing, right? Okay, with that said, let's take a look at MU. And we're going to take a look at MU on the monthly time frame here. Okay, here's MU. For a long period of time, from their all-time high of 157, they dropped. And every single quarter has been green since that drop. This one, this one, this one, this one, okay, this one. It's been literally jumping every single quarter. Okay, and now participants and investors are looking at this and saying, okay, it's really undervalued. It hit an all-time low of $60 from the all-time high, and in just 1, 2, 3 months, it went back to 129 from its all-time lows of $60 because the growth is insane. They even said it in their earning calls. They were sold out on their chips for the year of 2025, which is a good problem, right? So with that said, yes, inside our Telegram group, we're very bullish on MU in the very long term, but we're trading this and we're trying to figure out the timing when it's appropriate. But this is a good way to start either shares as a swing trade or leap options for like 2027 or 2026, right? So you can capture this entire move up. Okay. Now, there's a nice little trick that we use to figure things out, because sometimes even if everything looks good on paper, it doesn't always play out accordingly. Okay, so we're going to look at Zeta here, and I'm going to show you how to look at SEC filings and what forms to look at so you can see what's going on in the inside. Now, one of the things that I liked about Zeta here was that before earnings came out, I was looking at the form type 4. And you can see all of these were pretty recent. July, literally the beginning of July last month, July 7th, 3rd. And if you take a look at this and you open up the PDF file, we'll open up a couple here. These files are all public, okay? They're all public for you to see. And you'll see here, they'll give you who got it, the level of or their role in the company. And you can see here by this section 4 area, it says securities either got acquired or disposed of. So D is dispose, A is acquire. And all I saw was A's. All I see is A's. If we go to the next PDF, A's. It was just a bunch of acquisitions. Okay, this to me was bullish. Now, when you start seeing also CTOs, CFOs, CEOs buying and getting acquisitions, or even investors or board members, that's very bullish, right? Okay, that to me is just an indicator that something good could possibly happen because it's happening in the inside. Okay, it's not guaranteed, but it's a good indicator, and I like to use this to give me some sort of more confidence in the trade going long through earnings. Okay, and so that's how you swing trade. This is how you start to swing trade, whether it's for a leap option or shares. It always starts here. It always starts here at EPS. And these are the questions you want to ask yourself. Is it going to be quarter over quarter? Is it going to be year over year? Even if it's stale, if the quarters, if they say, hey, we're going to be flat, that's a bad sign. Okay. People only invest in growing companies. Market participants only put their money in growing companies. So only put your money in growing companies, right? And if the stock is super undervalued, which there's another video where you can see where like how to figure out the expected move for the quarter, then that's your cue knowing that, hey, this company has growth, but they're like at the bottom of the expected move, right? If they're here, and you're like, this is going to do well. Well, I want to buy here and then take it up here. Okay. That's a discount. All right. That is how you start to swing trade. This is the first base fundamental. Do this homework, go to the NASDAQ website, figure out, look at the earnings, ask yourself these questions, and see if you can find companies that are growing. All right. If you have any questions, put them in the description down below. If you want to trade with me and my team, I'll put a couple links in the comments in the description as well too. And I will see you on the next video. Peace.